I've done the work of building that relationship 360 other days of the year, that I'm
Absolutely.
entitled to 5 days to go on vacation. And my clients that I
Right.
want to work with want that for me. Hi, I'm Cheryl Medeiros.
And I'm Colleen Hungerford, and this is We're Doing This Right, right? A podcast for the whole woman, mind, body, soul, and business.
It's humor infused, as real as it gets, inspiring, and you'll walk away with real usable tools for life and business.
If you love what you're hearing, please share with a friend, subscribe so you'll never miss an episode, and rate and review whenever you listen.
So find your earbuds, lace up your walking shoes, or cozy up with a beverage of your choice. It's time to dig in. Eat the frog first. You need to do the hard part, the part you're not going to want to do first, because the rest of the day comes really easy. I remember when I was first coming back after disability leave, I 12 years ago had to take a year off because I was unwell, and I still didn't have a lot of energy when I came back. And my manager at the time coached me. She said, what part of the day do you feel the best? That's when you need to do this stuff that is the hardest for you to do, because the other stuff is easy.
Yeah.
And you
It's so,
need a ton of energy.
And it's really interesting when you start to figure out when that workflow time is for you. And for me, it is very early in the morning. And I realize that like when my kids are not in school and I don't have to take them to school, I will start work at 7 a.m. and I'm like, boop, 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 bing, bong, 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 everything done, done. I can get like, I don't know, something that would have taken me 3 hours done in like 35 minutes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, that's when my brain is like really, that's when I'm focused. I can do it. I'm ready to go. I've got the energy. But when they're in school, that's the time I'm getting them up, getting them ready, taking them to school. So then once I get home ever or go to the office or whatever it is, that's a slog for me. It's hard. It's
Mm.
harder for me to kind of like figure out those things. So it takes a lot more delusional,
Yeah.
very fairy dust to get these things done.
Well, because
But
you're
it
out of your
also
work zone. You're out of your work zone.
I'm totally out of my work zone. So
Hmm.
one of the things I'm trying to figure out in the future is how do I flip that so I'm not the only parent here during the morning? How
Hmm.
can I, how
Hmm.
can I work that out with my husband so that he's here because he leaves at 6 in the morning to go to work. And
Yeah.
so I've always been the only parent to get
Hmm.
everybody up. I got 3 kids. There's so many.
They're everywhere.
So there's so many of them, and I did it. I always say like I did this to myself. I had all these kids, so But it was interesting so they're like while they were home during this Thanksgiving break right now, there were mornings where it would be like Saturday or Sunday morning, where I woke up and just did some work because that felt good for me. That
Hmm.
time when it was
Hmm.
quiet and
Hmm.
I could like think straight and was like, okay, let me just like schedule some emails or do something. Like I literally yesterday at like 7 a.m. on a Sunday scheduled an email to go out this morning
Love
at
that.
8 a.m. It was great, right? And so I think it's also figuring out in this entrepreneurship, like when are those workflow times for you? Like when does it feel the most productive? And let's do the things that are sucky, maybe
Hmm.
during that time.
Right.
Feel less sucky. I don't know.
Because
Like,
here's the reality also, I think. This is not an 8 hour day job. Most real estate agents do not work 8 hours a day, and they
no.
try to tell me otherwise. I said, you might stretch it out to 8 hours just because you trying to fool somebody, but this is a 4 or 5 hours max kind of job, right? So if you're really diligent and you're working straight through, you can get done. I mean, but real estate agents, again, we live in the land of exceptions, right? What if I have
Yeah.
to meet an appraiser? What if I have to meet, do I have a home inspection? What if my client, yeah, what if you get hit by a bus? There's so many what ifs in the course of a day. You're not meeting an appraiser every day. You're not having a home inspection
No.
every
You're
day,
doing that 10 to 30 times a year.
and
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah.
come on, people. So say what it is. I'd rather you work from like 8 to noon and be done the rest of the day and enjoy your life. That's why you
Yeah.
got into real estate, so you could enjoy your life, enjoy all the money you're making. And for those people who think, "Oh, I worked on my vacation. I wrote 10 offers on my vacation," that is not a badge of honor. That is someone who has poor systems in place, right?
And for support,
So
right?
stop trying to act like you're the agent of the year. You're not. You're not. You're not working 8 hours. Don't work on vacations. You're only working on vacations because you didn't work before you went on vacation, so you didn't prep. So I have no sympathy. I have no accolades for you. None of that, because that's just poor planning on your part.
I love it so much. I can't. I love it so
Because
much
the
because I'm
reason
like,
why,
I do work on vacation.
but the reason why
What
you
am I
can't enjoy
doing?
your vacation or you can't enjoy time off is because you didn't work when you said you were going to work. And so now you're feeling
Yeah.
guilty. Now I have to do the work now. If you had just done it before you went on vacation,
Or like Cheryl does, like we've talked about this a lot, but Cheryl has two people, herself and another agent on every transaction, so that
right.
she's got a system set up. And I'm really starting
Absolutely.
to do that. I'm really trying to start to do that so that I can, you know,
Now the other
go
piece of that
close.
is that real estate agents have control issues, and you have to be able
Yes.
to let go because Cheryl may not do it like you do it, but she's gonna get it done. The end
Right.
result will be the same.
But ultimately, to your point, if you have a system in place, it'll get you the result that's needed, right?
Or close
Again, it
to
might
it.
not be
At least
done.
close to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it might not be done how you would do it. Like they
Right.
might call it 3 p.m. instead of 2:45 like you would have called or something, right?
Right.
But
Right.
if the systems and processes are in place, which goes to like what you're talking about, what Susie coaches to, all of these things, then you should be able to get all this done and not have to bring your laptop. And you if you've listened to the podcast before, everybody's heard it. Like I am the person who that feels awful to. I am like bring my laptop, I want to have my phone everywhere. But I'm really starting to feel like going into 2026, that is something that I want to let go of. Like
Let
I
it go.
just
Let it go, Colleen. Let it
let it go. I'm like Elsa. I'm like, let it
let it
go.
go.
Queen Elsa. Like this weekend, my phone died and I just left it dead for a bit.
Oh, good for you.
Which is like my friend, she's like, what happened? I was like, I don't know, my phone died and I just didn't charge it for a bit. She was like, for me, that's a big deal because I'm a psycho, right? But I have felt so attached to
Yeah.
having to be on call or like having to, check my emails 47 times a day. But like that is a goal for me in 2026 that I'm just
Let me share.
like,
Let me share one of my tips.
Okay.
So
Okay.
oh,
I
yes, I
have an
like
Apple
this.
phone, and so you know how when you're driving, your phone can set up an automatic text that sends back like, "I'm driving right now. I'll be with you
Mhm.
soon." Well, I have changed that text message to say like, it's something along the lines of like, in a world overflowing with distractions, I'm committed to giving the people I'm with my full attention. I've put my phone on do not disturb, and I will get back to you as soon as I'm through. And if this is an emergency, which I'm in real estate, there's not a ton of emergencies. I'm not
Right.
a doctor, I'm not firefighter, but if this is an emergency, call the alternate agent on your transaction, and they'll be able to assist you until I'm free. And so I like right now while we're recording, my phone is in driving mode. So anybody who
Yeah.
texts me right now is going to get an automatic response. That makes me feel in control because they don't feel like they're getting ignored or ghosted. They
Mhm.
understand that I'm in the process of doing something. I also have those like phone call reminder or the phone call auto texts set up with
Oh yeah.
like I'll be with you when I am available.
Yeah.
It sends an automatic text so I can just not worry about that and then
Yeah.
also not feel like I'm not contacting these people. And
Yeah.
then just remembering to get back to them when you are free.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I like
being
my
so
phone for my
intentional about
convenience.
that.
I
Oh,
like,
sorry, go
I
ahead.
like my phone for my convenience, and so you're just kind of an inconvenience when you call me. So
Yeah, phone calls aren't my favorite, but yeah.
yeah.
That's interesting, Candy, you say that because I was in my marriage therapy last week and had this reframe come up around like my family is not distracting me from else everything else is distracting me from my family. So it's kind of the same thing you said with your phone. It's
Mm,
like your
yeah.
phone is an inconvenience to you, not your phone is this convenient tool so that everybody can connect with you. So it's just like these little reframes that I
Yeah.
do think make a big difference with how you look at the world. I do have
Absolutely.
to remind myself regularly. My audiobook is not the thing that my kids are distracting me from. It's distracting me from my kids.
Well, and you know what? I also realize I always want to be the best and I always want to, like be very responsive and communication is very important to me and blah, blah, blah. But I am out here doing the most. And I mean, like, this other agents are not doing it. And I am really holding myself to a standard that, to your point, Candy, that I have created. And I want to be great. But it's like, somebody sent us an email. My co-list agent and I got an email from the buyer's agent the other day, and it was just like, He just wrote something in the subject line and like attached a file. And we were like, "Oh, are are we doing that?" Like, oh, okay. I'm really out here doing the most with my like salutation and my like full bodied paragraph and my like closing statement and attaching it and then like my exclamation point.
I love it.
Like
You know
I'm
what
just
would
doing
work?
too much.
You know what would work just as fast as that guy's subject line text is having your email template just built that you then
Yes.
just attach the file to.
Correct.
And you
Right.
Correct.
still, it's like the best of both worlds. You're doing it as
Yes.
quickly and you're doing the most.
Right.
Like I'm never gonna be the subject line guy. Like I'm just not gonna be that
Hmm.
person. But I'm also causing, and it's more about like my own stress and my own feelings about things. Like I'm causing myself so much stress because I'm like, I need to write this like appropriate email every single time. And it's like, nah, man, why don't you chill out and like don't I don't need to be so extra every time for
But I do
some
like a good
imaginary
salutation now. I do like
listen, send me a salutation. If you do not send me a salutation, I'm gonna be so mad.
it.
Especially like
Because here's the
I
thing, you don't just walk into a room and start talking. You always greet
yes,
people. So the
I
email's the
thank
same
you.
thing. So
So
yeah,
we had a whole episode about 2 episodes about hills you die on. The salutation is a hill I will die on.
me
Like
too.
every text, I will be like, "Good morning," or every email, I'll be like, "Dear, hi Candy. I hope you had a great blah blah blah." And then we started out. You
Yeah.
know,
My
Now the
personality
subsequent,
type is to go straight to just the point, and then I have to go backwards and add those things in. And if I get moving too quickly, especially in text form, I'll send
yeah,
it, and then I will have to send a second text that says, "Oh, by the way, hello."
right,
Sorry.
exactly.
yeah,
I think good morning, good afternoon, thank you, please. Those all just kind of add like a nice
it
touch
just
to it. It's just, I don't know,
yes.
email
I think it's
etiquette.
email etiquette and even text etiquette because we a lot of the communication
Yeah,
goes through text these days, right?
yeah.
And so I had a mentor of mine. We've talked about her before. She was the one who talked about like there's no such thing as balance, work-life balance, right? Because you can't ever be even. And she was just like, an emoji goes a long way when you're talking
Mm,
to people,
that's
right? Like an emoji when you're talking, especially as a leader or as like a CEO or an executive or whatever. She's like, a good morning with a sunshine emoji goes a long way to
mm,
getting people to
to,
to
to do what
do
you
what
want
they
to
need to
do.
do what you
Yeah.
want them to do. And I was like, oh, you're right.
And
That
Well,
see,
is
I was on this trip and in Mexico for whatever reason, my voicemails would only play like 3 seconds at a time. So I couldn't get through a whole voicemail. So I was relying on the dictation and I got a voicemail while I was there and I read the dictation and I was rubbed so fucking wronged by this thing. And then I got home and I listened to the voicemail and it was so pleasant.
oh,
I just spent 3 days being annoyed because of the dictation that I read and because there
yeah,
was no tone behind it.
yeah.
wow,
It's so
wow.
important, I think.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it
Yeah,
really,
it's
really is.
so important.
But I'm going to push back on something you said with work-life balance. I think you can have balance. I just think agents are afraid to put it out there that they want the balance, right? So we're afraid to tell clients when we work, how we work, right? So when I
Hmm.
was selling, I would tell people, my clients especially, that my phone goes off at 6:30 every night, right? And agents are like, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh." But unless we're in a negotiation, what are we doing here?
Right.
Yeah,
What you're doing,
that's
you're
fair.
calling
Yes.
me because you have time, you're thinking out loud. What if I was just thinking, I don't do that on your time, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm working until 6:30. Then I have my family time, right? And one way I got clients to kind of go into my Monday through Friday 9 to 5 time block is especially for buyers. I would say during our buyer consultation, this is the time to lay it all out, right? So I would say it may be necessary for you to go into work late, extend your lunch hour, or leave work early. And so they'd be just like you guys, like, oh, okay, okay. And so what I've done is I've taken you off Saturday, Sunday. I put you Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And they were okay with that, right?
Because they had the expectation set up front. They were
Right.
prepared.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And same with when we go out. I said the first time we go out looking at houses, we're going to look at 10 houses. I said, but we will never, ever look at that many houses at once again. And they're like,
Oh yeah.
why not? I said, because now we're looking at the whole universe of inventory. We've picked out your cream of the crop. And then from there, we have to wait. and see what else comes on the market that might meet your needs. And if we're lucky, that might be one a week. And
Yeah.
I was just with my hairstylist recently,
uh-huh.
and it doesn't show as my hair's in a ponytail again. And I was talking to her about like, because it's sometimes hard to get a response from her because she's working. She, her hands are busy. Her
Yeah.
hands
Yeah.
are busy. And so I'm telling her, I'm like, you
Nonstop.
need to train your clients. Like, you need to train. I'm asking for me right now, but like, how do you want to be contacted? I hate contacting you after hours. Like, what do you want me to do? And she explained to me what her system was. And I said, okay, I now need you to train every client you have that way. And so I made her give me her phone while we were sitting together because I love a system. And I set up those same text responses that I was telling you, but with her exact thing. So she can go on that driving mode and it sends a message that says, hey, if you're reaching out to book an appointment, here's the link to my website. This is the best place to do that at. And I put a little something in there like, my hands are usually full this
Right.
time of day.
Yeah.
I can't get back to you, but this is the best way to make sure you don't fall off the radar. That's what everybody wants. And so I set that up. So as like, if you put yourself in the consumer's standpoint, like my goal when I contact her is to book an appointment. So if she makes that easy for me to do with a system that takes something completely off of her plate, awesome. It's the same thing for us as agents. Like if we tell our clients what to expect, then they're prepared and they know what to do and how to do it because we've laid those expectations out for them. I mean, I was on vacation, of course, then a client wants to buy something when I go on vacation. She knew I was on vacation because I had set the expectation with every single person that I was actively working with. I'm going to be gone. You're going to be in excellent hands. My team knows how to support you. Here's what you do. So she reached out. I reminded her like, I'm gone. Client, business partner is going to work on this for you. And I'll jump back in when I'm here next week. I didn't lose that client, which I think is everybody's big fear is like, they're going to go work with someone else. I've done the work of building that relationship 360 other days of the year that I'm entitled to 5 days to go on vacation. And my clients that I want to work with want that for me.
Right. Absolutely. And people are just afraid of losing. I don't know if I ever lost anybody. If I did, they weren't my people anyway. Right. And so
Yes.
they weren't going to work the way I worked. So it's okay. I haven't really lost anything. And so we just need to be upfront about it because you have to have that balance. Otherwise, you're not going to be a pleasant person to be around. If you're doing real estate 100% of the time, I know I don't want to be around you because you
Yeah.
have no social skills and you're always looking for a deal and you seem just a little creepy.
Or you're always on your phone, right? And
Yeah,
I'm
and
starting to
that's
hear
not
that
cool.
more and more from my kids. And I'm like, oh no, this is to your point, Cheryl, like this job is to support them, not
Right.
for they're not the distraction from the job, right?
We don't live to work. We work to live. And that's,
Right. And
that's how
so
it should be.
yeah, so like there's a woman who wrote a book, her name is Jessalyn Avell, and the book is called More Money, Less Hustle. And it's a really great book and it's about marketing and whatnot. But that theory and that idea is really what I'm trying to take into 2026 is like how to be more efficient.
Yeah.
Like I did the same amount of volume, I'll end up doing about the same amount of volume I did last year, this year, but I did almost twice as many transactions
Oh, wow.
this year. So it was harder. And I
Yeah.
kept going, why does it feel so hard? It's so hard this year. I did twice as many transactions
Yeah.
for the same amount of money.
Wow.
And so now it's like, okay, that was shift in market, that was, X, Y, and Z, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of those things were out of my control. And the year before, some of those things were big blessings, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, but what did I do? What was my marketing like that year? And how was it different this year? Or were there things I couldn't
Was it
control?
just
But
an
those are the things,
outlier? Like, was
yeah,
it
what
just a
it,
big listing or something, that was different?
right, right. So, but what I realized with this is, I never want to be like, I will never count number of transactions. Like I want to do more volume, less transactions. Like Candy, to
Absolutely.
your point, like
Absolutely.
I want to do, if I want to sell 10 million or 15 million, I want 10 transactions.
Right. Right.
I don't want 25. That's
Yeah.
terrible.
You want to
Well,
work
let's
smart.
not forget the referral button. Like,
Hmm.
especially with a team, is if that's like below the price point that you desire working in, by all means, nurture that, send it out, co-list it, whatever you need to do. Like, we
Right.
have to do everything that comes our way.
Right. Yes.
And that's something I talked about just this morning. It's like you get to pick and choose who you work with. And when you're with, because we were talking about how do you market a stale listing?
Mm,
Well, you can't
really hard.
outmarket an overpriced property. Can't do it.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
don't care how much money you throw at it, it's just gonna sit there. But I backed up on the whole conversation. I said it starts at the listing appointment. That seller showed you who they were from the very
Yeah.
beginning, and you thought, "Oh, it'd be great to have my sign on this corner. Oh, it'd be great to have my sign in this neighborhood. Oh, this house will sell really fast. I won't have to deal with them." And guess what? Those are the very ones where you cut your commission. The seller is very demanding, and that property is on the market 60 days. And you're doing
Yeah.
what I call the real estate dance every single week when the seller says, "What are you doing to sell my property?"
Well, and I had a listing like this year, and thankfully, knock on wood, it's pending. But what I also realized with this is my dollar per hour rate
Yep.
decreases every single day this house is on the market, and
Yes.
and I am, at some point you're just pouring money into trying to remarket it,
Right.
and again, like, I can only control what I can control as far as the seller's decision on price. Like, if they're unwilling to reduce the price, I can't force them, right? But it is conversations. But that was a big eye opener for me. I had two listings this year that went on the market the same day. They went on the market the same day.
Mm-hmm.
I had three that went on the market the same day. One sold immediately, and then two sat for a long period of time. And those are the ones that I swear, like, were going to break me this year, because you and I was like, you put so much into those.
Mm-hmm.
But one of them was a relo. So the relo company took 40% of my commission, and I co-listed it with somebody.
For free, basically.
I mean, it was very, the margins on that were hundreds of dollars, right? It was insane when it came down to it. And by the end, it was
And it
just
kept you
like,
up at night.
and it kept me up at night, and it was a lot of work, and it was a lot of this, and it was a lot of that. And
And
we
it
just had
kept you
somebody.
from pursuing other business that could make you more money.
Correct. Or took time away from my other clients, or
Or your
made, or like
family, or your
my family.
exercise, or your body, or your mental health.
Yes, yes. And so there were some really strict. One of them was a downtown listing for me, which is like 45 minutes from where I live. And so after, during this process, I'll never list downtown again. But I set up a referral partner. So now I have a referral partner downtown that I have now, because I got asked to list another house downtown, and I said no. And I sent it to Rob, and Rob can do a great job because he lives down there. But that travel time was an hour and a half out of my life to go down to the house, check on it, do the stuff. It was also a vacant listing, so that's even harder, right? Like,
Wow.
but every time you take one of those, it's deciding whether you're going to learn something from that and correct your systems, or whether you're just going to hate your life, continue
Well, and this,
hating and hate real estate.
if we go back to your dollar an hour that you were talking about, your attorney, and we put
Yeah.
those parameters on ourselves of like, is this worth my time before we say yes? Like, that is a gift that we have as agents. We don't have to say yes. Yesterday, I was talking to my friend who's a doctor, and she's telling me about this asshole patient that won't let his wife take a baby aspirin, and she has preeclampsia. Like, just ridiculous. And she's like banging her head against the wall, doesn't want to work with him, but she works for a corporation and she takes the patients that are on her schedule, and that's that.
Mhm.
And I'm
Mm,
like, I said, I don't have to do that anymore.
Nope.
I don't
yeah.
I don't have to do that.
Nope.
And that's the best.
And I like to say all money is not good money, right?
Yes.
No.
And so you have to learn how to walk away, and it is hard to do. It is hard when you're a 1099er, man. It is hard to walk away from money, but it is sometimes the best decision you can make is to walk away
Just
from
take
that.
25% of that and send it to someone else who's a better
Right.
fit.
I used to have
Yeah.
I used to have a form that was how much is this listing costing you? And I had agents fill out how many hours they do on all these various tasks for the listing, right? And then put their hourly rate to it. And generally speaking, it was between $6,000 and $9,000 for every single listing. That is a chunk of change that you're putting that your time, but again, it's time away from your family, time away from other clients. That's a lot of time, money, and energy that you're spending on someone who really doesn't even appreciate you.
Right.
So
Correct.
you have to decide,
Correct.
why am I doing this to myself? Because you're the ones who make the decision. right?
Right.
And you can just say, I don't think we're going to be a good fit, and you're out. And I'm like you, Cheryl. I had a job where I had to work with everybody that came down the pike. When I found out I didn't have to work with everybody in real estate, oh my gosh, oh happy day. I got to fire people. And one of my favorite
Yeah.
stories, there was this guy, he called me, it was a floor call back in the day of floor calls. And we had scheduled a time to meet at a Starbucks on a corner, blah, blah. And at the end of the conversation, he said, oh, just so you know, I'm interviewing other agents. I said, well, that's great. Just so you know, I'm interviewing you as much as you're interviewing me because I only work with people I like. And he says, oh, you'll like me. I said, we'll see.
Oh my God.
And we ended up doing 2 transactions together, but it was like, why am I afraid of you? How am I gonna let you set the tone of this relationship? This
Right.
is a
Yeah.
two-way street. You're not
Right.
driving the train, I'm not driving the train, we're driving it together. And
Right.
so at the initial phone call, literally, I'm like, no, dude, this is not how this works, right? You Googled something that said you can say that, but no, this is how it works in reality. And I
Yeah.
to be a very nice person, but so many times agents will just kowtow to whatever that client wants and dictates. And I'm like, we don't have to do that.
Well,
No,
and
that's your
ultimately
fear
that
to
comes
work
down to
abundant.
scarcity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Mhm.
Right.
yeah,
It's your fear of missing out. It's your fear of missing a deal, fear of missing a paycheck.
yeah,
And that's real. I mean, I think as a newer agents, that's real. Like, and
yeah.
I think sometimes you take those because how
Well,
well
it's
you
all
got to pay
learning
your bills and
experience
you're
as
still
well.
learning, right? But
Yeah.
I think the more you get into the more you refine your systems, the more you have discipline or delusion, the more you like figure out how and refine. Like I think that's something that I'm constantly trying to work on in all my businesses is just refining, right? Like we learn all these. I'm never going to take another downtown listing, and I've even set up a system where if I think that I'm going to, my business partner is going to tell me no. Like you like all those things, right? And you continue to refine your systems, and you continue to try to understand your own personal value and the things that are the most important to you,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And those change all the time. So
Right.
it's just, constantly working on those things, constantly perfecting those things.
But when I hear an agent, you can call me anytime, 24/7. No, you can't. So why are you setting them? You're setting yourself up. You're setting them up. They're going to be disappointed in your service because they're going to call you. You're not going to answer. You already told them they can call you anytime, and they're doing it, and now you're not responding. You told them to do this, so just tell
Yeah.
them the opposite. Yes, call me, at this time. If you call after 6:30, 7 o'clock, there is no reason why an agent should work at 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. You can't tell me you're doing your best work at 10 o'clock at night. You
Well,
about to
and
get more mistakes at 10 o'clock on that listing agreement or whatever. You leave the
yeah,
listing appointment. Yes, you're excited. Tell them you'll get the listing agreement back to them by noon tomorrow.
yeah.
They're not going to
Also,
find
like
somebody else in that time frame.
agents do it, we do it to each other. We've talked about this before, Cheryl. Like
We're the
we'll
most
be
guilty.
like, we're the most guilty of doing it to ourselves and each other. We'll send an offer and say like offer deadline is midnight. And it's like,
Right,
why?
right,
Why can't it be noon the next day? Why can't it be 9 a.m.? Why can't it
right.
be 8, or
I think
10
Tuesday
a.m.?
midday offer deadline is if you're going to do one, like have the open house all weekend. Tuesday, let's not also put buyers in a frenzy or put
Right,
our sellers in a
right.
position where they're going to have to respond to like, no, let's chill out and let's not send an offer at 9 p.m. to another agent. Schedule that for 8 a.m. the next morning. Like, let's not let
Yeah.
them look at their phone right before they fall asleep and now get to add all this
Yeah,
stress. Like,
yeah,
I'm trying to be the agent I'd like everybody in the world to be. Join me
yes,
on this mission, people.
yes. I'm
I
I'm
know.
I'm so with you because I tell my agents now, make the offer deadline 12 noon and then meet your clients around 5 o'clock. And that way you have a chance to organize all the offers. You can send them to them, then you can digest them. You can have it finished by 7. Everybody's
Hmm.
happy.
All of
But
this is
Right.
running our business instead of allowing our business to run ourselves.
yes,
Like
absolutely.
we're the
Absolutely.
boss, the business is not. Okay,
Yeah.
Candy, we've taken now 2 hours of your time and I'm so grateful
And what's
We're
so
so
funny is I can talk
for
thankful.
to you ladies like forever. That's the thing.
that. I know. Well, luckily,
Always.
I'm just going to give a little plug. Candy has a book club with Elizabeth Convery. Once a month, I get to have an hour with Candy
Oh,
just to talk about whatever the book we read or
oh my
didn't
God.
read that month
That's
was.
Well, you
What
can
a fun
join us,
book
Colleen.
club. Yeah. What? I want
Yeah.
to be in the book club.
Shout it out. How do people join?
So you just go to the helm and you can just look down. It says book club. Wise Women Read is what it is. And I don't remember the book we're reading for December, but it's
I
going to be a
think it was 10 times is better than two
yes.
times.
I think you recommended
Ooh,
it, didn't
you've
you?
read that,
I
Cheryl.
did recommend that
But
one.
you
Yeah.
recommended it,
Oh.
so
Oh.
Mhm. Yeah,
That
I'm cheating.
that was a
I'm
way.
cheating for December because I've already read it. But I felt like it was the right time of year as everybody's setting goals
right.
because it's about a mentality shift of like, okay, if you're going to set a goal 2 times, like we talked about earlier in the show, then you're going to do twice as much work to get there.
Right.
But if you want to do a 10 times goal, you're going to have to make a radical shift to how you're operating your business. And not, it doesn't only have to be business related, because this was part of the inspiration behind me not drinking this year was if I want to be 10 times better in my personal life and show up 10 times better for my daughter who really needed me this year, then I need to make some radical shifts out of my life, and not drinking was one of those. And
Congratulations.
thank you. Well, we're holiday season. I'm slipping a little back in, so we're gonna have to recommit. But I mean, I went most of the year with like maybe one drink here,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
nothing like it had always been.
Yeah.
And you need to do that in your business. If you want to make a 10-time change in your business, you're going to have to add a teammate. You're going to have to put systems. You're going to have to do something radical to get there. So I just felt like as people are setting goals and setting up for their year, that looking at a radical shift ahead of that is a good time to focus on that book.
Yeah, and I just think the book club, for one, it forces you, if you will, to better yourself because you're reading all of these books, you're preparing for the book club, and you become a better person, you become a better agent, you become just a better everything. And so I love the book club, and
So do
some
I.
of the books I like, some of them I love, some of them I don't like, and but that's life, right?
Well, and the caliber of women that are there, the wise women that are there discussing the books,
Ooh.
that's the room I want to be in.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So
Okay, well, I'm
What else?
signing
What
up for
else
the
are you
book club.
doing, Candy?
the wise women read.
How else can we support you in your business? Where can people work with you if they're in love?
Well, if you're in love with me, you can go to my website, rlretraining.com. And that's where I sell my courses. I have courses on everything because I design these courses because sometimes when you're a newer agent, you don't want people to know that what you don't know. And so you can just go through these courses on your own. It talks about the buyer consultation, the listing presentation, prospecting, negotiation, ratification to settlement, every little nuance that you can just do in the privacy of your own home, and nobody has to know what you don't know. And so you can
I
do
love
that,
it.
or we can do one-on-one coaching I do, and just reach out to me on my email. It's all there, and I'd be happy to have a little call with you to see if we work well together. Because again, I don't work with everybody. Because if I don't feel like I can work with you, I can help you reach your goals, then I'm going to tell you I'm not the one. But I have lots of coaches who I know can help everybody in every situation.
Amazing. And we'll put all those
Amazing.
details in the show notes for you guys. Thank you again, Candy, for your time.
Thank you,
Guys.
Candy.
That's
So good
so
to see you.
awesome.
Keep
Have
doing
a great
it.
holiday season.
We will
You too.
finish
All right.
strong or don't.
Or don't. Or no.
Do whatever you want. Do whatever you
Do
want.
whatever you want. It's your world. We're just living in it. All right. See you
All
later.
right. Bye, guys.
That's a wrap. Thank you for joining us on this journey of laughter, life, and growth.
And remember, you're not alone on this path to success. We're right here with you every step of the way.
Please remember to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you found value in today's conversation, we'd be thrilled if you would leave us a review on your favorite platform. Your feedback means the world to us.
And don't forget to share this podcast with your friends, family, and anyone who could use a good laugh and some practical insight into navigating the challenges and triumphs of our minds, body, soul, and business.
Remember, we're doing this right.